Hey everyone, it's me again, and today I have an interesting video for you because initially I was supposed to do a first impression review for the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place makeup, but it was a complete and utter catastrophic failure for me. I had the foundation on for 5 minutes and I had to wipe it off. It was so irritating, so drying. I didn't know my skin was that sensitive, but I don't know if I used the wrong method. I just used a normal like buffing method, but I guess that didn't work. I'm gonna keep playing with it and I'll just end up posting a review for it at a later time, but for now, my skin is just way too sensitive to deal with that. So instead, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my foundation routine. Most of my tutorials here on the channel are eye looks, and I tend to skip over the face a lot, but the face is really the most important part of your makeup. I mean, that's the largest surface area. So I'm gonna talk about my skin type and I'm gonna talk about what I use and why. First of all, my skin type. I am combination skin. Like my cheeks can get a little bit on the dry side, my nose gets extremely oily, and I can get some oiliness on my forehead, but it's not nearly as much. My nose is the one that gets really, really oily. But I am extremely sensitive. I have very, very sensitive skin. It's very prone to freaking out and drying out. I have rosacea on my cheeks. Most of you guys know that. First is primer. I do definitely use primer. Sometimes I don't if I forget. There was a time in my existence here over the last couple months where I wasn't using primer at all, but I started using it again, and of course the primer that I use that is my favorite, has been my favorite for months now, is the L'Oreal Magic Lumi Primer. I love this stuff. A lot of people compare it to MAC's Strobe Cream, only it's much, much cheaper. It's basically just a white luminescent primer, and I'll put a little more on just for demonstration's sake. But what I love about this primer is that it is so moisturizing. Like, it is one of the most emollient, moisturizing, soothing primers I have yet to use so far. You know, it makes your skin glow from within when you put foundation over top of it, but most importantly, on my more sensitive areas, it doesn't irritate me, and it's what I use to kind of soothe my skin when a catastrophic foundation failure happens. I just put that all over my face. Some people only put it on the high points of their face. It's up to your personal taste what you want to do. Concealer. Now, again, there was a time where I wasn't using any concealer at all because most of the time my dark circles, I mean, they're pretty bad, but you can't really see them if I just put foundation over them. But lately I've been back to my Maybelline Instant Age Rewind concealer, and I took the little foam thing off because I fucking hate those. And I usually just use a small kind of detail buffer that looks like this, and I'll put this directly on top of my dark circles. And this is in the shade Light, by the way. They have multiple shades, including correcting shades, which are also really nice, and then blend it out. I find that I use this concealer a lot more now that I've managed to get rid of that sponge applicator thingy, because I love the formula of this concealer, but I cannot stand the applicator. The little sponge it comes with. People who've gotten this concealer before will know what I'm talking about. It's terrible. Since my cheeks are red from that foundation fail, I'm gonna go ahead and use a little bit of the excess concealer around my cheeks and the top of my nose just to get rid of that redness. Oh, that was so frustrating because Estee Lauder Double Wear, it's a classic. It's one of the highest rated foundations on Sephora's website, and it's so frustrating when something works for everyone else, it seems like, and then it just does not work for me. So that is pretty much blended out to my satisfaction. Now for foundation. The ultimate foundation for me, the one that has been working for me the best despite all of my efforts to try to find something a little more affordable or something a little more accessible to me. I just keep coming back to this foundation time and time and time again, and it's the Lancome Nude Miracle. Now, this stuff should not work for me, but it does. It's an oil-based foundation. It's got oil in it. It should not work for someone like me who has oily patches on their skin. But I don't know what it is. It's really, really thin. This is a very watery foundation, one of the watery foundations that have been popular lately. And it has a little dropper, and I just use, I start with around like 4 to 5 drops, depending on the level of coverage I need that day. I just use a buffer brush like this, I tap it in there, and then I just start buffing it over my skin. Sometimes I'll place it in various spots, like I'll take it off of my hand on my finger, and if there's areas where I need extra coverage, I'll just place it there, and then I'll use my Real Techniques buffer brush to blend it out. And I don't know what it is, you guys. When I was stateside back in October, I went to a Sephora in New Jersey. And my goal was to get foundation matched because I wanted to know once and for all what my foundation shade was. So I highly recommend you guys go into your friendly neighborhood Sephora store. I'm just taking a little bit of what's on the wand and putting it wherever I'm missing coverage. Boop, boop. But yeah, I was just looking for a foundation that was right for me. I was more than willing to spend money if it meant getting the right base, just because I was so sick and tired of looking. I went into this shade matching experience optimistic, and the woman I got was so nice. I can't remember her name though, to save my life, but I wish I could, because she was amazing. This was in the Quaker Bridge Mall in New Jersey, and she was amazing. She sat there with me for over an hour trying on different foundations, trying to find one that matched me perfectly in shade, because when you have rosacea or other redness skin conditions like I do, when someone tries to foundation match you through the Color IQ system that uses a little camera, it will pick you up as a pink undertone. And I am not a pink undertone, I am someone with a yellow undertone who has problems with redness in her skin. This woman sat down with me and she tried all of these foundations. She swatched every foundation on my skin, and she was like, what do you think of that? What do you think of the color? Does it match? What do you think of the finish? Etc, etc. And we sat there for like an hour matching me, and we finally found a couple of foundations that matched in color roughly. One of them was the Urban Decay Naked Skin Liquid Makeup, and one of them was Lancome Nude Miracle, and then there was another one from Tarte, I think. She put the Nude Miracle on me. I mainly picked it because from the swatch it matched my skin the closest. So I was like, that's the closest color match. And for those of you who want to know, I'm in the shade 210 Buff. Neutral. Buff N. 210 Neutral. But I was like, okay, that's the one that matches me the most in color, like in shade and undertone and things like that. It was really close, and I was really excited. But I was nervous because, you know, this is an expensive foundation. This is like $42 a bottle. And I really wanted to test it out and make sure that it worked. So she put it on my entire face, stepped back, and was like, wow. I looked in the mirror and I said, wow, because this finish looks stunning. It's not matte, but it's, you know, it's roughly mattified, like everything's corrected, there's no unwanted shine anywhere, but it just gives that perfect kind of satin finish. The coverage is ideal, it's just the right amount without being too much, and yeah, it just is perfect. And I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. I'm afraid it's gonna break me out. So she gave me a little sample to take back with me, and I didn't end up buying it that day, but I used the sample every single time I did my makeup. I kept coming back to it. I was obsessed, and I ended up ordering a bottle. So now that the foundation is on, anywhere that I need a little bit of extra coverage, especially now since I had that freak out, I use the Revlon Photoready powder in the shade Fair Light, and I just take a little like e.l.f. blush brush, yeah, and I just pat this wherever I just need a little bit of extra love. Now that I'm all powdered up, what I will do after that usually depends on what look I'm going for. So I've got this like kind of, you know, nude smoky eye going on. So usually I will contour after that. And my contour holy grail has been the NYX blush in Taupe Forever. I've been using it for so long now and I love it. I just use that same e.l.f. blush brush, tap it off, and just carve a little bit under my cheeks and then a little bit up by my temples here. I go just from the top of my ear down to the beginning of my eye. Don't go down too low here. And then I blend the living heck out of it. Just blend all that out. And again, I really go soft on the contour. I know contouring is like the new thing to do these days, but I'm really not a huge fan of it. Like the heavy like drag contour, it's great when you're on stage and all, but I don't feel the need to do it at all most of the time. One more contour thing I have been doing lately that has been working pretty well is I'll take the same blush and I'll put it right underneath my chin right here, because if I look down I can get like a little double chin going on, so I'll just take my contour shade and I'll go underneath my chin just to kind of prevent that from looking too turkey gobblery. We don't want Thanksgiving up on our face. Blush, honestly, I haven't really been using blush that much. I've been using bronzer most of the time. I will bronze my skin just a little bit, but I've been kind of straying away from blush because I have rosacea. It's really, you know, it's hard enough to get rid of all that redness. I don't want to put it back on my face. So I'll take the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil bronzer. This is the medium deep shade. I found that the light medium shade's a little bit too orange on me, but if you're fairer than I am, then the light medium shade would probably work for you. And I have this big ol' e.l.f. complexion brush and I just go ham with this. Because I've tapped it off first, I don't run the risk of over bronzing, so I'll just tap the fuck out of it and then just very, very light-handedly go mostly on my cheekbones, a little bit on my top of my forehead here. Because I mean, realistically, a tan on my hairline doesn't really make any sense because I'm bald. Just a little on my nose here, just anywhere where the sun would naturally hit you, that's where you would normally put bronzer. So just a little bit, just enough to kind of bring my face to life. Once that is done, my favorite step of all time, highlighter. I love, love, love highlighter lately. I love giving myself a glow. It just makes me look so healthy and alive. And I've been using all kinds of different stuff. I've been using the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector Spotlights. You guys have seen those in a few tutorials. Most of the time what I select will depend on what my eye look looks like and what I know my lips are gonna look like. That white one I tend to use with like more taupey, cool toned looks, but for something warm like this I tend to go for a golden highlight. And if I want something subtle, I will use the Benefit What's Up. I just started using this. I got a little sample a long time ago and I, you know, kind of wrote it off because it isn't that extreme, it isn't that intense, it's a very natural highlight. But I love it for when I'm not like going out on the town, for when I just need something very subtle. And I'll put a little on the tip of my nose here, a little on my chin, above each eyebrow. Yeah, that's basically it for a natural looking highlight. Now if I want to boost it a little bit, if I want a little bit more glow, I will take my old trusty standby, my Balm Mary Luminizer. I'm going to take my same e.l.f. blush brush and just kind of dust it off on my arm here to make sure all the contour's off, and then take a little tiny bit and just go back over my cheekbone and up by my eye. When you put that product over the cream highlighter, it almost sets the cream and just takes that glow from 0 to 100 in like 2.5 seconds. Like, do we see that? Do we see that? Holy glow, Batman. Look at that. Oh, that glow dough. That is pretty much it most of the time. That is my whole foundation routine. So I'm gonna go do my lips real quick and I will be right back. So there you go. This is the finished look. I hope you guys learned a lot from this. Don't forget to hit that like button. Just smack it. Just give it a good smack that like button. Just do it. Hit that thumbs up. It helps me out a whole lot. And I will see you guys in the next video. Toodles!